There is an old saying in India that an ideal tax system should work just like a honeybee sucking nectar from a flower. It shouldn't hurt the flower when the delicious honey is being pulled out. However, have governments been fair, like a honeybee, when it comes to levying income tax on the middle class, the most honest tax-paying group? The intention behind collecting income tax is noble as it helps in wealth redistribution and contributes to the growth of the economy. And the Indian middle is one of the most prominent groups that contribute to the nation's revenue through income tax. However, the process fails to live up to its intended goal when it starts taxing people with relatively lower income. Money loses its value with time due to inflation. So if tax slabs are not increased with time, it would mean people are paying income tax on lower real income. This has become an issue worth serious consideration today. According to Budget 2014, an income tax rate of 20% became applicable on income above 5 lakh rupees and 30% on income above 10 lakh rupees. This has not changed in the last 10 years. If we take average inflation to be 6%, the real value of 5 lakh rupees and 10 lakh rupees of 2014 would now be 2.8 lakh rupees and 5.6 lakh. What it means is that while people were paying 30% income tax on income above 10 lakh rupees in 2014, they are now paying 30% income tax on a real income of 5.6 lakh rupees, when compared with 2014. This clearly shows that relatively poorer people with lower real income are now paying a higher income tax. The government may argue that it has done its best to comfort the middle-class taxpayers by bringing in a new tax regime with a much lower tax rate on higher income and no tax on income up to 7 lakh rupees. However, the new tax regime offers no significant deductions and exemptions that are available under the old tax regime. There is no incentive for a person saving more tax with all the deductions and exemptions under the old tax regime to shift to the new tax regime. This is a pain point as people plan their household finances in a way to optimize their income tax outgo by taking a long-term view. Many taxpayers who purchased homes with a 25-year home loan repayment schedule did not factor in a tax regime change in subsequent years. Similarly, people took investment decisions such as investing in Public Provident Fund, PPF, for 15 years and in Sukanya Samriddhi accounts for an even longer period. House rentals have gone up significantly over this period, but house rent allowance, which offers a big relief to taxpayers, is only available under the old tax regime. Cost of higher education has also gone up significantly. Many taxpayers would have taken education loans for their child's higher studies, and the repayment would run for 7 years after the completion of the studies. Yet, the deduction on interest can be claimed only under the old tax regime. There are many such targeted relief measures in the old tax regime that helped certain people. A marginally higher tax slab of 7 lakh rupees in the new tax regime fails to address the concerns of many such taxpayers who have planned their household finances keeping the old tax regime in mind. Today, every aspirational salaried middle-class household is in the rat race of paying off EMIs for housing, consumer goods, education loans and medical bills. Not to speak about the growing burden of inflation, tax compliance and living with crumbling city infrastructure and deteriorating law and order. All of this after paying their tax dues as model citizens. Indeed, they have cause to be miffed. Unlike earlier, their numbers, consistent with the expansion of the Indian economy, are growing. And so are their aspirations. Therefore, ignoring them is neither politically expedient nor clever economics. The NDA halved corporate income tax, but income tax rates remains unchanged. On top of this, corporates have legit ways and means to avoid tax, as opposed to evading tax, which is a criminal offense, while the salaried are hit by either TDS, tax deducted at source, or GST, goods and services tax. GST, instead of being simplified, is getting complicated every year, either through myriad exemptions or inclusions. Like everything else about India, there is nothing homogeneous about its middle class. It is split across income classes, with bulk of them at the bottom of the pyramid. Consequently, the number of taxpayers are fewer than those filing tax returns, which is mandatory. This anomaly can only be corrected as the middle class trades up. Till then the tax burden and compliance continues to fall disproportionately upon a few. To sum up then, the middle class in India has sufficient cause to vent. Despite being such a dynamic cohort of the Indian economy, SOPs have eluded them. The less favorable outcome of the just concluded general election for the incumbent NDA has put the spotlight on the middle class too.